There's an old family portrait that has lived in my mind for a while now. The photo is of my grandparents and 3 of their kids, my mom among them. It was taken in Taiwan around 1954. About 5 years earlier, my grandparents had fled China for Taiwan as political refugees with the Kuomintang. In the rush to get out, they had entrusted their eldest child, a toddler, to the care of relatives, with the expectation of returning in a few months. That child is not in this family photograph. Martial law was imposed in Taiwan soon after my grandparents arrived, cutting off communication and travel to China. For almost 40 years, Gong and Po had no contact with their eldest daughter. My mother grew up without knowing that she had another sister. I once asked my mother why she thought her parents didn't tell her about this other child. She said simply that this generation didn't talk about those kinds of things. I'm a mom now, too. I have 2 small kids. When I turn on the radio, I hear endless reports of how the powers of this world are still breaking up families. At the border, through war and forced relocation, economic and racial oppression, on and on and on. It's horrifying. It's utterly common. Around 1989, Gong wrote a letter to his firstborn daughter and addressed it to their home village. He did not know if she was alive or living nearby or whether the houses still stood where they did before. But amazingly, the letter made its way into her hands. Not only was she alive and living nearby, but she was married and had children of her own. Shortly after, Gong and Po made their way back home to see her. There are so many stories within this larger story, like the one about the men who ate their dinners at my grandparents' table because they had been separated from their wives and children in the same refugee wave. Like how my grandparents funded the building of a large family home for my aunt in China so she could keep her own children and grandchildren close, and the story of how my aunt started an underground church in that home. There are stories I'll never hear that have had reverberating consequences. I am not interested in replicating a photograph that already exists. I'm doing this to get to know a portion of my own history and to learn that the smallest fraction of a thing, the seemingly least significant act of courage or cowardice or selfishness or hospitality or hope, can be as consequential as the biggest movements of history. That's why I take my time with a gape-mouthed infant, a grinning child, the solemn toddler who would become my mom, the handsome, clear-eyed father, the mother with her steadfast gaze. I take time with that firstborn child, my eldest aunt. She radiates from a point behind her parents' shoulders, raising the hair on the backs of their necks, causing ripples to break continuously over their heads.